Hi all, I have a very entertaining attacking game to show you this morning. Leela against Laser in the Chess.com Rapid Redux. 30 minutes with a 5-second increment. Let's have a look. D4 from Leela, knight f6, c4 e6, knight f3 d5. So pretty classical. You might think this is solid and potentially not that interesting as an attacking chess game, but let's see how it pans out here. So d takes c4, e3, knight d5, and bishop takes c4, accepting double pawns. Knight takes, e takes, c6. Usually in chess-based live book in this position, it has been seen before. Bishop d6 has been played, and both sides castling. That's the usual continuation. White's thought to have a small edge there. So c6 here, g3, g6, and in fact, White doesn't routinely castle in this position after the move g6. Maybe that's like a red flag to a bull in terms of Leela being the bull there, because guess what we see here? Okay, 5 seconds to pause the video. What would you play? Okay, h4, yes. Trying to undermine this pawn chain. It's a lever to rip open an h-file. Black parries this, it seems. Knight f6. Knight e5 is played, bishop g7. And now, h5. This is very liberating, not just for the rook, but the way we play chess, fundamentally, to be able to play like this. It's like throwing caution to the wind. Just open up the rook, the h-file, get attacking prospects. Now, black castled here. On knight takes, rook takes h5 is strong. First of all, the rook's also protecting e5, by the way. So bishop takes this, rook takes e5. So let's say g takes, queen takes h5 threatens mate. And if black castled, then white castles queenside with that ready-made attack, because after bishop d3, this is very dangerous. Here, knight g6, it's going to be at least a small advantage for white. This kind of continuation is nasty. Yeah, with that h-file attack. So at least a small edge guaranteed. So black actually ignored it. Black castled here. H takes, h takes. And now I just feel Leela has access to a cheat code of chess we didn't know about called the Thorn-pawn. Because this next move, you might think, what would be the point of this? It's like, who's playing this game? A child is playing this game? It seems very childish, g4. What's the point of this? So c5, g5, knight h5, and yeah, black's used the classic recipe of counter-attacking in the centre against the flank attack. White hasn't even castled yet. Why is this dangerous? Well, rook takes h5 is played, and now in fact, g takes h5 is dangerous for black because of queen takes, and if here bishop d3, this looks very dangerous because actually there's a backfire on the back row here after rook d1 for rook d8. The queen's not supporting the back row, and nor is the rook, and black can get checkmated. So that's mega dangerous. So black tries this. Queen takes d4. It seems very resourceful in some respect. Kind of. Queen takes d4. C takes. So two pieces attacked. Black's going to get some material back, right? Knight e4. But unfortunately here, the cheat code of chess, which we didn't know about, is utilised. And that cheat code, maybe Kasparov has alluded to it. He has said quite a few times that pawns around the opponent's king are often worth pieces. That is definitely something that Kasparov said. But Thorn-pawn in particular is one of the more dangerous types of those pawns around the king. And it seems after knight f6 check that if this is taken, we end up with a totally winning Thorn-pawn that black can do nothing about, even though black is the exchange up. I just feel this is the equivalent of when DeepMind were demonstrating mastery of bat and ball, and a hack was found to drill the left and right sides, and then get the ball up there and sort of mine what you needed to mine with the bat and ball. This is like the equivalent in chess, because once that pawn's installed, it's just so easy to checkmate the opponent's king and win the game. Black played king h8 here. Let's see the terrain here. It seems familiar, a familiar story, but really, is black helpless here on g takes f6? Well, there's other factors at play. The hemmed-in bishop, the massive knight on e5, the g file, the h file. Black does seem entirely helpless in this position. This is as good as lost, this position. Example, rook d8. We just play king d2 even to give the rook g1 or h1 access. Say king f8. Rook h1 is probably the best here. And the knight stopping, the knight and the pawn actually stop any escape exits for the black king, rather amusingly. So king e8, rook takes h5. We're threatening rook h8, checkmate. What is black doing here? Nothing. It's lost. It's just lost. This makes chess very, very easy once you have the form pawn. Maybe we had some strategic notions of a knight on d5 making games easier to win. If you read Chernev's Most Instructive Games of Chess, you might have picked up some themes there which made the position easier to win. But the form pawn makes it super easy here, it seems. If we have rook d5, then actually we can play check here. And now bishop d3 with the simple idea of bishop h7 and rook g8 checkmate. What does black do here? Say b6, bishop h7, end of game. Checkmate is going to... Let's put it on the board just for fun. Let's see this. The form pawn is stopping the king exiting on e7. It's checkmate. So if we look at king h7, bishop d3 check, knight takes, we can pick up the rook, end of game. So the form pawn basically seems to win there if black takes. Totally winning. So king h8, king d2 anyway. The knight on f6 is, with this knight, these are monster knights in the position. We have b5, a desperate b5, that's just ignored. Just restricting the king a bit more, just in case this knight's eliminated. Bishop b7, trying to control desperately h1. An end to that fun is put with f3. And black desperately just is busted. This is a top 11 engine according to some engine rating lists. Completely lost position by move 22. Totally lost. Or in fact, you can argue earlier. So black plays bishop takes f3 in total desperation. If rook ac8, rook h1, bishop takes, we get the form pawn again. And here we can play the check, get the form pawn. And here the termination is with knight g4 of black's king for knight h6. What's going to stop knight h6? Nothing. If rook c7 is a token, knight h6, checkmate. If we move the rook, check, and the form pawn stops the king going to e7, checkmate. So we have bishop takes f3, knight takes. White is material up and getting a form pawn anyway now. After takes, rook g8, we have knight g5, threatening knight takes f7, checkmate. So that's played to give the king, well, g8. We have rook h1, king g8, rook takes h5. The king's not going anywhere here. Even with the knight on g5 instead of e5, the king just hasn't got the time to get out of here. Rook c5 is played. Now rook h7 to be able to play well, all sorts of things. So rook takes g5 is played in desperation. F takes e5, check. Now bishop h7 guarantees winning this loose rook because the threat of rook g8 checkmate. So here, instead of going for the rook, again threatening checkmate now with rook g8, taking this pawn, keeping the rook restricted, wanting to queen this pawn, it seems. Now luxury, absolute luxury. Chess made easy, totally desperate. Rook c2 is just to prolong the game. And here, checkmate. I truly am starting to believe even more my own hype. Actually, maybe it was just a bit of hype to start off with, but it does seem that this is a major cheat code of chess, undiscovered. For me, I'm going to try and mentally replace the notion of thorn pawns as a strategic crush element, where I used to define a strategic crush as patterns, especially from Chernev's most instructive games of chess, like connected pass pawns he did mention, knights on d5 he did mention, blocked in bishops he did mention. He mentioned a lot of powerful strategic themes, but the theme of the thorn pawn was not exemplified so much. This is a very powerful, vivid example of such power, and it seems as though the lead up to it, it's like White was a coffee house player, a hack attack player, just playing for the fun and joy of seeing active aggressive pieces. But really, Black is absolutely defenseless. Check it out. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this game video. Please click on the top left box, but it should appear shortly, to become a member at chessworld.net. Play against other YouTubers. You can also check the YouTube analysis in advance of these games from the improved menu learned from the Masters YouTube order button. Comments, questions, donations, see the description. Like, shares, subscribes with the notification bell. All appreciated. And check out the new Teespring store, and you can get your Thorn Pawn t-shirt from there to celebrate this new era of Thorn Pawn chess. Thanks very much.